For decades, gardeners have been taught that winter is a season to retreat. Cover beds with mulch, wrap delicate plants, and essentially put the garden to sleep until spring. While these winterizing methods are well-intentioned, they often do more harm than good, especially for gardeners seeking soil vitality and abundant spring growth. The truth is, there's a historically tested natural approach that bypasses the need for heavy winter protection and actually prepares your garden to explode with life when the first warmth returns. This method isn't new. It's rooted in traditional European and North American horticulture, where farmers and homesteaders observed that the soil thrives when allowed to remain active, even under snow and frost. Once you understand how this works, your spring harvest will consistently surpass expectations, and you'll wonder why you ever spent weekends piling mulch or dragging protective covers across your beds. The first insight is that soil life doesn't stop in winter, it just slows down. Many gardeners assume that cold weather halts microbial and fungal activity in the soil, leading them to protect their beds as if they were inert containers. Historical observations prove otherwise. Even under frost, the soil continues to support bacteria, fungi, and earthworms, though at a slower pace. The key is to maintain conditions that allow these organisms to survive and remain active enough to process nutrients gradually throughout winter. By feeding soil life continuously with organic matter instead of insulating it heavily, gardeners ensure that microbes remain primed and ready to accelerate decomposition once temperatures rise. To apply this method today, simply scatter well-rotted compost leaf mould or shredded plant residues directly onto your garden beds in late fall. Rather than piling mulch to smother the soil, it's best to use a light, breathable layer to maintain moisture without cutting off airflow. This approach keeps microbial life alive and engaged, so when spring arrives, the soil is already biologically rich and ready to support vigorous plant growth. The second principle is that winter cover crops act as living insurance for spring abundance. You know, traditional winterizing often relies on passive materials like straw, hay, or fabric covers. The alternative and far more effective approach is planting cover crops that remain dormant or semi-active throughout winter. Legumes, rye and clover, for example, maintain root systems that stabilize the soil, fix nitrogen, and provide a substrate for soil microbes. This was standard practice among historical homesteaders and wartime gardeners, who discovered that beds with living cover crops had stronger yields and healthier soil compared to those that were merely insulated with straw or leaves. In practical terms, sow cover crops in the fall after your final harvest. Allow them to establish lightly before the cold sets in. These plants protect against erosion, retain moisture, and continue to feed the soil even under frost. In spring, simply cut and incorporate them into your beds as a living mulch, releasing nutrients directly into the soil and providing a fertile seedbed for new crops. The third insight is that organic amendments in winter turbocharge nutrient cycling. Rather than storing compost for spring application, applying it in winter creates a slow, ongoing nutrient release that strengthens soil structure and promotes microbial activity. Historical farmers often spread composted manure or green waste in late autumn, letting natural freeze-thaw cycles break down organic matter gradually. This process aerates the soil, improves texture, and integrates nutrients without the need for labour-intensive spring preparation. To replicate this today, lightly fork or scatter compost shredded leaves or aged manure across beds. Avoid deep digging, which can disrupt dormant soil life. You see, the freeze-thaw action will gradually incorporate these amendments into the soil, creating, well, a sponge-like structure that retains water, encourages root penetration, and really primes the garden for early planting. This approach actually produces healthier, more robust plants than conventional winter mulching ever could. Now, the fourth advantage is that this method reduces labour while improving results. One of the biggest frustrations of traditional winterizing, honestly, is its time and effort. Piling mulch, building cold frames, and covering every bed can, consume entire weekends. By contrast, maintaining soil activity with cover crops and winter amendments requires far less labour and, frankly, produces better outcomes. Historical accounts describe farmers who, after adopting this method, spent minimal time on winter care, yet harvested earlier, stronger and more productive crops each spring. For gardeners today, this means that instead of exhausting yourself with blankets and tarps, you focus on lightweight applications of compost and strategic cover crop planting. Over time, the soil becomes self-regulating, holding on to nutrients, moisture, and all that vital microbial life, without you having to constantly step in. By the time spring rolls around, your beds are just ready to grow. No extra preparation needed at all. The broader lesson here, really, is that nature has always known how to winterize far better than we ever could. Now, rather than fighting winter with artificial insulation, the key is to work with natural processes, maintaining living soil, supporting microbial communities, and allowing cover crops to act as winter sentinels. Well, that results in healthier, more resilient gardens. This approach, connects modern gardening with centuries-old wisdom, revealing that abundance is not about protection, but about preparation and alignment with seasonal cycles. So, in conclusion, if you want guaranteed spring abundance, it's time to abandon outdated winterizing methods. Feed your soil, plant cover crops, and let natural processes work through the cold months. By respecting the life beneath the surface, you create a garden that truly thrives from the moment frost melts. This method, saves time, improves fertility, and produces consistently strong crops, connecting historical gardening insight with practical modern application. If you found this guide valuable and want more historically grounded practical strategies for building resilient, fertile gardens, make sure to subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with fellow gardeners who want to grow smarter, naturally and abundantly.